Yeah, I had a crew in high school, and that's when the Timex came into play. So we weren't doing music at all. We were just hanging out at the high school, trying to basically get a crew and be known on campus. So we needed a name. So around that time, we're talking the early 80s, 81, 82. That's when Prince dropped that first Time album with Morris Day. So I said, man, we can't beat the Time. I really like them brothers, man. They got a a cool thing going on. I said, let's be Timex. So that's how they came into play, man. But we were not writing songs at that point. We were just into music, some of us, and I was doing my house party DJ thing and my mixtape hustle.
Right.
Yeah.
Crew at the time was the Timex crew.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Just Timex crew. That's all. Just me, Craig, Greg B, Darian Cleage, and my boy Mike. Yeah.
What was the game plan at this time?
None. Probably just having females just notice us and say, what's up, Time X, or being recognized in the hall, going from one class to another. What's up, Time X? Is just have somebody kind of recognize you, and I would, we didn't have gangs, we weren't Crips or Bloods or nothing like that. But so this Timex thing was a way for us to identify ourselves and let people know that, yo, I got backup. So, don't be messing with my partner. I go get, I'm part of Timex. So, chill. Kind of like, somebody had your back on campus. You know how it went down back in the day in high school. So, yeah.
Did you guys do shows earlier on as the Timex crew?
Wow. No, because we weren't into music, but I'll tell you what happened. So, my boy Mike, he was a singer, right? So he would enter these talent shows and turn it out. There was maybe two or three guys on campus that could quote unquote blow, and Mike was one of them. So you let that fool loose with a microphone, a cappella, and it was over. So he would enter these talent shows and just kill it, right? But he was part of Timex, so that was like, yeah, we loving it because it's like, okay, homie, keep doing your thing. You making us real popular right now. So I mean, if you want to call that a show, but yeah, that was big because it was like assembly in front of the entire student body. So nobody missed it. It was as they say, must see TV. But it was everybody was in the auditorium when those talent shows are going on. So yeah, that's probably the shows we were doing is hyping Mike up to to shut it down and get the girls all hot and bothered.
Right. At what point do we start, taking this serious and thinking that we can pursue this as a career?
Yeah. Well, when so skip high school because we graduated. That was 83 when we graduated, and another shining moment for Timex at our graduation. They handed Mike the microphone, and so now in front of the whole student body, dressed in their cap and gowns, and the parents and grandparents, this fool is up here. He sang Imagine by John Lennon and killed it. I mean, standing ovation, killed it, right? So that's how we walked off. Peace, we out of here. We Timex closed the show at the graduation, if you will. So we still weren't in the music, although, you know, he was singing. So that's 83. And then the next chapter that opens is the summer of 83, when I sat down and I wrote the lyrics to Rumors.
Mm. Talk a little bit.
So I'm,
Talk about
yeah,
this.
go ahead. Talk a little bit about it.
The creative process of sitting down and writing those lyrics.
Well, I was always into poetry and, um, you know, writing, you know, short stories and things of that nature. So at this time, my DJ mentor, Alex, he was, you know, he had got a hold of a 808 drum machine by now, and he's got a keyboard or two, and he's making these rap songs at his apartment, right? And these neighborhood rappers are coming through, and they got some Radio Shack microphones, and he got a 4-track cassette tape recorder, and they are making these full-fledged demos, so much that they are getting play on college radio station for UC Berkeley. And even I think they had a video running on Channel 5 in the Bay Area. Did it was a song he wrote called 57 Packs a Day. And it was about smoking too much or the nicotine habits or something like that. But it was like a PSA. It was like a public service announcement kind of thing. But there it was. It was his beat. You know, the kids say we making beats now, but it was his beat. And the two rappers were on there rapping. And I was like blown away. I'm like, that's my partner, man. What? So you know, I'm juiced and I'm like, man, well, if he's doing that for them, I'm not a rapper, but let me see what I can do. And so I just started putting pen to paper and seeing if something would click. And I remember I was working graveyard at the time, and I was a security guard. So, you know, it's midnight, 1 a.m, nobody's in this building but me. So I'm sitting down at my post, and I got fresh pad of paper and pens or pencils or whatever I'm doing. So I just started writing, and it just came to me. How do rumors get started? It started by the jealous people, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And so I just kept writing, and I think I wrote that one over like maybe a 2-day period. I remember distinctly when I came up with the line, I think I write my congressman and tell him to pass a bill. That one, I was like, oh, that's going to hit. That's so smart. Ain't nobody talking about putting ain't nobody put the congressman in a song before. I said, I think Alex gonna like that one. I think that's gonna be, he gonna want to record that, you know. So I'm trying to put everything in his song. So if we know now, we know we got Michael Jackson, we got the shout out to Susan, which is Susan from Vanity 6. So I put the Prince thing in there. I got the government in here. I am putting all these references and things to try to get Al to say, hey man, you know, I like this. Come over Saturday so we can record. That's all I want at this point, is to get this thing on tape and let's make a demo so we could play it in the car as we're rolling down the street. That was the long game, if you will, just to have a cassette I could play for moms,
Right.
and my friends. Never even thought about it getting a vinyl or thought about it getting on the air, meaning AM, FM. Never thought about that. I just wanted to impress my mentor, Alex, and have him come over, have him invite me over for some free studio time. That was it. So Yeah, that was summer of '83, man. Yeah.
Talk about that recording session when you presented the lyrics to him, and how did
Well, first you got to sing it a cappella, right? So I'm not the singer, but it was done in a sing-songy rap kind of way. And it's still, when it made it to vinyl, it's still that way. So I just said it like I said it to you. How do rumors get started? It started by the jealous people, and they get mad seeing something they've had and somebody else is holding. I just kicked it. I'm kind of halfway singing, and I'm kind of halfway rapping. So I think that was what he heard. He's like, "Oh, this is kind of rampish." Although it's a song, because of course, when you look at all these rumors surrounding me every day, I just need something. Oh, well, we singing now,
right?
but when you go back down to the verse, is da 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 da. It's really, it's not a lot of um, who was hot at that time. James Ingram. It's not a lot of Jeffrey Osborne going. It's not a lot of if you will, Luther Vandross, who wasn't out back then, but at that time. But it wasn't like we, it wasn't all that. It was just da 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 da. It was like that. So I was like, oh, so I think that's what it was. And so the first session, we in the living room. I called up Mike. I said, hey man, I'm coming over. I want you to hear something. And so I had to sing it to Mike a cappella because we ain't had no music yet. So it's all coming from me. And I got these 3 sheets of paper with these lyrics on it. And it's so funny because that song, I wrote so much. I was trying to cram so much into that song. Is actually 4 verses. You never heard the 4th verse. We cut it out. There's another interlude. We cut that out. By the time we had a polished demo, there was a lot of lyrics on the floor that we never ever recorded.
Mm.
So we did some editing, some self editing, and the first session went well. But over the years, we really polished that song. So when you hear the final demo that we presented, and we start mailing out to record companies and stuff like that, versus the song you hear, when you punch it up on Spotify or whatever, it's I would say the demo is probably an 8 and the record is a 10.
Mm.
Because we had redone it. So we recorded it first on demo in the summer of 1983. And by the time it was released, it was 1986, February of 1986. So that's almost 3 years later. And we had done so many versions of Rumors. I never counted, but I would probably say we did in almost that 3-year span, we probably did 5 or 6 versions of that song. And I know Mike rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed. We performed it. Um, yeah, it was something that we knew like the back of our hand. By the time it was released, it wasn't new to us. It was so damn old.
Right.
And I'll tell you why. It was the 3rd song in on the demo tape.
Mm.
That's how
Right.
tired of that song we were. And with demo tapes, or the thing with demo tapes is you put your best song first, because usually producers or radio A&R won't listen past the first song. So for them to get to Rumors, that was number 3 or 4 on that tape, we thought we were confident enough with the material we had just recorded, like in '85, or 84 that, oh, we put this old one, we put that old one on the back, three songs deep.
Right.
So yeah, we thought we was we had faith in other songs instead of Rumors. So it just so happened that that one broke through, man.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of reaction did you get, from your family, from the neighborhood, prior to shopping the demo? What kind of feedback were you getting?
Oh, well, I mean, people hear something on a tape and it's not on the radio or anything like that, especially back in the 80s. They just give you you know, a pound, if you will, a nod. Oh, that's cool, man. That's cool. And then they keep it moving. They're not on it like it's a hit.
Mm,
You know, I think the only person that was on it like that was probably my mom's, but
right. Moms.
I'm her baby. Of course she gonna say that.
Right.
I never hit, I'm not like, moms, are you really feeling this way 100%? I mean, that's what a mom's gonna do. So she gonna tell you it's a hit.
Right. Who
So,
were who were
but
some of the
go
that
ahead.
you got to?
You were breaking up.
Who were some of the labels that you guys shop to?
Oh, I don't remember. I mean, I definitely melded off to, I don't know, man. I mean, the labels that I was liking back then, I would just go home and turn the records over and and be like, yo, okay, Epic, Epic, this is their address. Warner Brothers, this is their address. Um, you know, I don't have it's been so long ago, I don't know, but it was definitely mailed out to quite a few big labels, and we never heard anything from them. So I was feeling kind of bad. I was like, man, maybe I should let this dream go. Maybe this ain't hidden. But um, it finally did.
Right.
Yeah,
Talk about the transition from the Timex crew to the Timex Social Club. How do we get to that point?
yeah. Well, see, the crew was high school, and then the social club was after post graduation, if you will. So the fateful day of putting Social Club on the end of Timex, I was on the bus. I was catching a bus to Alex's house to either we were going to record or no, I think we were going to record. We were going to record. And it wasn't Rumors at that time. It was going to be something else, something new. One of our newer joints, but I walked in the door. Well, sorry. So I'm riding the bus, and then I'm looking out the window on the bus, and I'm passing these places, and it says, okay, like your name is Sin-seer, so it'll say Sin-seer Social Club, and then I'm still on the bus, and then it'll say, John's Social Club. And I'm like, Social Club, so it's just starting. I'm whizzing by, I'm seeing it visually, and I'm whizzing by on the bus, and the bus, I'm like, yeah, it's just hitting me, Social Club, Social Club. So I started playing with it in my mind. I said, Timex Social Club. I'm like, that is crazy. I seen nobody ever called themselves like a building before.
Right.
It's like, that's not a group name. That's like a building where you would have meetings or play cards or have a dance or have a wedding or something. Where y'all going tonight? Oh, we going down to Harry's Social Club. Oh, okay, I'll meet you down there at 8. But it wasn't a name, for a group, an R&B group at that. I'm like, that would be ill. That would be crazy to do. So anyway, I get off the bus, I go to Al's, I knock on the door, and blah blah blah. They let me in. I said, "Yo, I got this stupid idea, man." And it was like, "What?" I was like, you know how we Timex, right?" Yeah. I said, "Man, what if we called ourselves Timex Social Club?" And then there was silence. And everybody rolled their eyes at me. Everybody rolled their eyes at me. I was like, yeah, man, whatever. Because the dream had not been fulfilled. We were still on cassette tape. So, yeah, man, whatever meant, yeah, man, whatever you want to write in pen on this cassette tape is fine with us. Because we don't have a deal. We don't have any vinyl. You know, we don't, there's nothing beyond this TDK tape we're holding in our hands. So whatever you want to write on a label is good. So I took the whatever as that's a new name. Shit. you know? So fast forward when we get to the studio, the actual recording session with the 24 tracks and the 2-inch tape, and now this is going to go to vinyl. The engineer says, "Hey, what's the group name? I need that to put on this box." So everybody turned to me. And that's when I said, Timex Social Club. So the engineer wrote that on the box. And when it went to the pressing plant, that's what it was.
Wow. So you
So
independently.
that's a transition. It happened on a AC Transit bus in Emeryville, California.
Wow.
And it just stuck. And to me, it always sounded right. As soon as I married, Timex was Social Club. To me, in my brain, it stuck and it sounded right. And my boys didn't really say no. They didn't really say yeah, but they didn't really say no. So we rolled with it. And, thank God for us, man. The song became a hit. And, I guess it's kind of proof that no matter what you call yourself, if your music is slamming, people will accept it. And the case that I always like to bring up is MC Hammer, because we all have used hammers to drive nails into wood. Now, who would call himself a hammer in the music business? Now, a hammer, I know we know the story was taken from the baseball player, and I think Fred Williamson, the football player, was known as the hammer, but they were known for hitting, right? Fred Williamson hit you so hard on the football field, and then the baseball player, I think it was Hank Aaron, I'm not sure. He would hit the ball so hard to go out the park, it was a home run. But who would adopt a hammer, a tool that you buy at the hardware store, to be a big MC name or rapper? So it doesn't, it really didn't matter what we called ourselves. If the track was slamming, people was with it. So yeah, that's the transition between Timex and Timex Social Club. Me riding on the bus.
At what point does that song start to take momentum? Are you guys signed at this point when the song takes
Yes.
off? Okay.
Yes. Now, when did it take momentum? It started taking momentum in the Bay Area. This is before the signing. This goes back to the college radio station that was playing the demos that Alex was making with the rappers. So that was 1985 that we were going up to the college radio station at UC Berkeley, and they had a little format where they would play rap, local people, and they would interview local people and stuff like that. So now we're trying to build this name locally, thinking, yeah, we need to conquer regional before we go national, or we need to get some attention on our name. So these record companies will be like, let me go down here and see these dudes. Let me try to contact these dudes or whatever. So the demo for Rumors was playing on the air, but it was at a college radio station, not the big FM. It was on an AM radio station way down the dial.
Right.
So yeah, you had to know what you were doing. It wasn't any of the ones your parents had locked in on a car stereo. This was grassroots guerrilla marketing at its best back then. But yeah, we were getting attention that way. And then when the record dropped in early '86, it started in Texas, and it slowly came to California. And you would see it on the Billboard charts, and oh, it's 83. Oh, okay, this week it's 79. Way away from number one, right? So this record is just climbing. I don't want to say climb up the charts, inching up the chart. And so by the time it hit the Bay Area, I think it was in the top 20.
Mm.
So now it's in rotation, but is maybe once every 2 hours. And so we're feeling like it's number one because we heard it on the radio. I remember I'm sitting at work and my cousin calls me, and he's going to school in Bloomington, Indiana. He's at college. And he's like, yo, I heard your record on the radio, dude. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, man, they playing your record out of here. Y'all getting paid? So I had to lie to him, like, yeah, we getting paid. But it was nice to hear. But I was, oh my God, man, it's in Indiana. What? And yeah, so by the time it got out to the West Coast, it had moved up the charts significantly, and we were trying to perform anywhere and everywhere we could just to get people to call in and request it, So that was a big campaign of ours. So yeah,